Hello, everybody, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School, your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday and school. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Revelation chapters 14 through 16.
And as you can see by the background, there's going to be a dragon and some frogs.
Yes, we also have another dragon joining us today. Why don't I just show this to
Why are your hands so sweaty?
Because I was just handling hot coffee.
Okay.
Let me show this to the people. Yes, this is our little dragon companion.
He was here for a Halloween episode.
Yes, our great dragon. It's not just for Halloween. This is the dragon of Revelation.
Is it?
The very dragon that we have read about. It has joined us to take a seat next to its good friend.
Oh, so we're putting it back up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They are friends. They hang out. They watch the superb owl together.
Wow.
Because we can't reference that legally. They have very many superb owl parties where they watch the various hand egg teams.
They sure do. Anyways, so while they do that and watch the superb owl, how about we get into the books that we have?
Well, I have the King James Version of the Bible.
I have the English Standard Version this time, and I actually do. Look at that. It's over here now.
It's here. I also have the Jewish Annotated New Testament and the NIV Study Bible.
Let's see what else we have. We have from the New Interpreter's Bible, the New Testament Survey. We have Erdman's commentary on the Bible.
We have a Greek New Testament and a textual guide to the Greek New Testament.
We have commentaries on Revelation from Leon Morris,
JPM Sweet,
Robert Mounts, Jürgen Roloff.
We also have the text of the New Testament by Metzger, as well as the same title by Allen and Allen.
Yeah, one is its transmission, corruption, and restoration. The other is an introduction to the critical editions and to the theory and practice of modern textual criticism.
We also have the Septuagint if we need to reference the Greek of the Old Testament at any point, and the complete writings of Josephus somewhere.
If we need it. It's all here.
Where is Josephus?
Oh, right over here.
Oh, you have it in another pile.
Right under this one. Don't mind these.
Those don't exist. I had real horns in that episode.
Oh yes, I remember that episode. Yes, yeah. you did have real horns. Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't the horns that I had.
No, those were real horns. I remember them.
Never mind those. No. Those don't exist. Anyways, so chapter 14. There's a little aside here in the Jewish Annotated New Testament.
Okay.
I do like these asides that they have. They're much better than even many entries in Erdman's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they tend to address specific theological topics that are relevant to the section.
Right.
So this one says, names inscribed on the body. In one of Revelation's most mysterious and distinctive features, John imagines the righteous of Israel as sealed on their foreheads with the name of God and the Lamb, and the unrighteous, the dupes of the beast, as likewise receiving marks on their forehead or right hand with the encrypted name of the beast. The great whore of Babylon also has inscribed on her forehead a name, a mystery, rather unmysteriously identifies her as Babylon, the great mother of whores and of earth's abominations, which will occur in chapter 17, which we're not covering today, but we will cover next week. Yeah. Whether labeled seals, marks, or simply names, these insignia have functions beyond identifying their bearers. The sealing of the righteous follows explicitly from a scene in Ezekiel in which God calls on an angel to put a tau on the foreheads of everyone in Jerusalem who rejected the desecration of the temple.
Wait, didn't I reference that?
I think
portion?
So.
Yeah, I think I did.
At some point.
Yeah.
Only those inscribed will escape the executioner angels in Ezekiel 9, as with the doorpost marks that in the Passover story of Exodus safeguarded the Israelites from the slaying of the firstborn, Exodus 12. These forehead marks are apotropaic,
Yes.
protecting their bearers from
They
supernatural
ward
dangers.
away. They ward against evil,
Yes.
basically.
The magically protective and empowering force of seals with heavenly names appears in Greek ritual manuals from Rome and Egypt, in the Papyri Graecae Magicae. Yeah, the Greek magical papyri. That's an interesting read if you haven't looked into it. In many Jewish and Christian apocalyptic texts, the bearers of such seals are protected during heavenly ascent from demons of the atmosphere and the lower ranks of angels, as in the ascension of Isaiah, the apocalypse of Elijah, Hecalot Zutrati, Hecalot Rabati. Some books, like the Gnostic Book of Jehu, even included diagrams of the seals to be drawn on the body or inscribed on metal or gemstone. Many museums hold large collections of such inscribed gems that may have served as protective seals. In Jewish tradition, the Tetragrammaton holds special power to sanctify the bearer without diagrams, an idea that influenced later traditions that a golem could be activated through the inscription of the holy name. John carefully distinguishes the number 666 inscribed on the unrighteous as a charagma, mark, rather than a sfragis, seal.
Yes.
And this choice of word might refer to also to a slave branding in Roman antiquity.
Right. Remember, I covered that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or simple coinage. The number is, as John makes clear, a name. And while it does not protect its bearers from divine judgment, it does protect their ability to buy and sell goods.
Right.
Wow.
I think I
think you covered pretty much all of this.
Yeah.
Basically, it serves as a parody of the followers of the Lamb.
Yes.
Yes. So we've covered everything that there is to cover on the topic of the Mark of the Beast.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, that stuff is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, but now we're getting into a little replay of the 144,000.
Yes, let's see what's going on there with chapter 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mount of Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps.
Harp, harp.
Wow.
Harp, harp, harp.
Okay. Thanks, KJV.
Oh, man.
Harping with their harps.
Harpers.
Yeah. So the many waters and the thunders is something that we've encountered before.
Yeah, that's imagery that's generally associated with war or with some great battle in general.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time for the power of God, right? Because like he's gonna make such a stir that it's gonna sound like rushing waters and a loud peal of thunder. And in many cases, like hoofbeats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's see. The sound I heard was like that of harpists playing their harps.
Yes. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne. Let's see. It doesn't look like this is just copied and pasted from other things, but we need to be sure whenever we encounter this term of a new song.
Sure.
And before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song, but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. So
we can't know the song.
there's a secret chord that David
shut
played
the
and pleased the
fuck up.
Lord. Look, you don't really care for music, do you?
God.
I think it's cool.
Yeah. But they learn this new song, right? And this gives them this special, I'm assuming that it's a psalm, and that as a psalm, it holds special magical power, right?
Well, remember the last time we had a new psalm.
Mm-hmm.
How did that one go? Oh, it was a copy and paste of everything else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brand new mishmash of all other psalms.
Yeah, but of course the new theme is hidden. The new song is the new hymn is hidden from everyone else. For they only know. Sorry. Yeah, for they know only the loathsome ancient song, which praises the power of self-glorifying human beings. Of course, the earthly church does not yet take part in the heavenly worship. Oh, that's probably it. Okay, so their new song is literally because this is part of heavenly worship, because this is the part where we have. The onset of this is the part where we have like this new Jerusalem.
It's strange the function that sound plays in several religions, really.
Yeah, true.
In the Abrahamic religions, it's obviously used as a catalyst in the creation narrative, right? Or even if you want to use the interpretation, the assignment of purpose to specific objects, right? Either way, sound is necessarily part of it. They literally have Jesus as the word, right?
Yeah.
And the Psalms play a musical role in the liturgy, obviously. But even here, they're using this new song as a catalyst for some kind of event. And in every prior event, it's been like a trumpet blowing or a horn or something.
Sure.
There's always some kind of sound associated with it. Right? Oh. Okay. These are they which were not defiled with woman, for they are virgins. You got to remember that the 144,000 were living in accordance with the celibacy laws that would be held during Holy War.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because they're a heavenly warrior caste, right?
Yeah. No sexy time for them.
No, they're like what are they? Nazarenes.
Nazarenes were the ones that couldn't touch or couldn't even be around dead bodies.
Right.
Would
they have any limitation on reproduction?
I don't remember if that was covered. However,
it does fit the Essenes.
that is kind of true. It does fit the Essenes. So it looks here like the no longer as part of the vision, but rather in an explanatory addition, the writer turns directly to the readers in order to show them several marks, essential for them, of those persons who are purchased from the earth and who belong to the Lamb. The first that he mentions is celibacy and virginity. Interpretation of this assertion is difficult. Two things could speak in favor of a figurative graphic understanding. First, the consideration that John was able to presuppose no celibacy at all as a generally binding norm of behavior in the churches to which he was writing, must also be countered by the possibility that in them were groups and circles that still held fast to the Pauline ideal of renunciation of marriage. In any case, nothing suggests that he wanted to deny the majority of church members who were married. In any case, nothing suggests that he wanted to deny that the majority of church members who were married were Christians. Second, adultery or lewdness was already a frequent metaphor in the Old Testament for falling away from God and turning toward the idols, the acceptance of which had to suggest itself to John on the basis of the comparison of the church favored by him with a pure spotless bride. To that corresponds the reverse, that as the contrast to the church, he sketches the harlot of Babylon, who fell to lewdness and idol worship. Okay.
I think this is a really good example of where something that seems small in an interpretive lens can lead to a really big difference in outcome.
Also, there are a lot of mentions of a virgin Israel. For example, Jeremiah 18:13 and Amos 5:2.
Mm-hmm.
Virgin daughter of Zion, that's 2 Kings 19:21, and Lamentations 2:13.
Well, if you have a very literalist reading of this, then you're saying, yes, it literally refers to 144,000 Jews who have practiced celibacy, right?
Sure, yeah.
And if you want to make it more figurative, then you could say, well, the references to woman could be references to going astray from God or following idolatry.
Right.
If you want to be even more figurative with it, you could be like, oh, well, there's this idea of a virgin Israel that could be associated with it. And it's entirely a matter of what scope of allegory you're willing to commit the piece to be.
Yeah. I think that considering how many allusions there are to Daniel in this book, I feel like abomination of desolation stuff would have been in this guy's head. So you might think that this is, more generally speaking, at least for the 144,000 or whatever, and being celibate just means not going astray from these things, no idol worship. So that would be the idea that I would get from it.
It depends on a lot of things.
I know it depends, right?
Are they using the Septuagint?
I
Probably.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they would have a lot more of that idolatry concept within Daniel than they otherwise would.
True, that is true.
And I mean, so if it is relying more heavily on Daniel, but I don't know if that's an intentional thing, right? Because the author is clearly very well read, not just in the canonical apocalyptic text, but also in like what we would consider pseudepigraphy or apocryphal right now, right? But which probably would just be considered some scripture by
someone at the time, yeah.
Right. So as a consequence of that, is it that he's paying more attention to Daniel, or is it that this is the material that he has to work with? And as a consequence of that, there's only so much. And so he has to reference Daniel a lot.
Sure, but you think that he does transform these a lot, though.
Yes.
For his own purposes.
Yes.
So I would think that it wouldn't be beyond John of Patmos to make a link where he wants to make the link.
Can we think of Revelation as kind of I want to know how best to phrase it. Kind of like a syncretic text of different Jewish apocalypses that are being repurposed and brought together in a singular Christian system for the purpose of making a polemic against Rome.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't even know. You could call it that, but I would have an issue calling it syncretic because they're still taking from the Jewish traditions and nothing's really syncretic about it.
I guess it would be syncretic in the modern conception because it's inclusive of things which are not currently in the Jewish tradition, but at the time would not be considered syncretic.
Right, yeah.
Unless we're considering the whole Jesus movement as a separate thing.
Which I wouldn't until far, far later.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that it's kind of like a capstone to many pieces of Jewish apocalyptic literature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, there's going to be more stuff here. They're virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Wow.
Man, I hate early modern English.
Yeah. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and to kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. So there's this first angel. Let's see. Is there any commentary on angel number one?
Angel number one. Let's see here. It looks, because that is in what verse Verses 6 and 7?
No. That is, yes,
Yeah,
verse 6 and 7. There's another angel after that, but this is angel number 1.
Yeah. So in even verse 6, the angel flying. I saw another angel flying in the high heavens. Wow, I can't talk. So I forget what the last angel was. But this is another one on top of it.
Yeah, this is a new angel, and then we're about to get.
This is another section, a whole other group of angels that we're getting into.
Almost like third Enoch tier.
Yeah, kind of
territory. Right. Well, you'll see, right? And then there followed another angel, saying, "Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine and of the wrath of her fornication."
Yeah. So there's going to be a few things here. So the second angel now appears, apparently flying in midair as the first.
Based on Isaiah 21:9.
Isaiah 21:9. Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you pull up Isaiah 21:9 while I just read this, and then you can go into that. But it's based on Isaiah 21:9. This announcement foreshadows the appearance of the whore Babylon, i.e. Rome, in chapters 17 through 19. Now, the wine of the wrath here is a reference to Jeremiah. This occurs in 25:15.
21:9, and behold, here come riders, horsemen in pairs. And he answered, fallen is Babylon, and all the carved images of her gods he shattered to the ground.
Yeah, so there is a direct reference to the same statement being made. I want to look at this Jeremiah piece right here because I think it might be relevant for this wine of the wrath. Now it's 25:15. For thus saith the Lord of God Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it, and they shall drink and be moved, and be mad because of the sword that I will send them. Then I took the cup at the Lord's hand and made all the nations drink unto whom the Lord had sent me. So
it looks like there is. Sorry, unless you had.
That's it.
Up. Okay. So when it says here, on the, because it's what in verse 8, right? He also made all the nations drink the maddening wine of her adulteries. So. Yeah, or drink the wine of her impure passion. Mm-hmm. So the word that's used there for passion, or in this case, maddening. Thanks. So the reason that there are so many translations of this and understandings is because of the word thumos in Greek, it can mean wrath and anger, or it could mean heart, passion. Like it's just a very kind of strong. I don't know how you describe that feeling, but they are linked. So
intensity.
Very, very intense feeling. So they even note that the reason that it's interpreted in so many ways is because of that, which makes a lot of sense. Which is interesting to note there.
Thanks, Eric Wander, for being a member for 4 months.
4-month member. That means you probably get a new badge is what I meant to say there. Don't know where all of my English skills have went.
They've gone out the window.
Well, that's a word in English. You should say window in Russian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, translate the Greek to English to Russian.
Yeah.
Нет.
Oh, that's all we're getting out of you today. So Russian.
Я не хочу, все.
Donde está?
Okay, now you lost me.
Yeah, I don't know Spanish. I took Spanish for 2 years in middle school.
Right, I think that was about me too because I had to, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember.
Ironically, anything. I might know more Spanish than you guys in some ways then.
¿Por qué tú hablar español?
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
All the commentaries go with Rome, but it's kind of clear that they would have meant this. I was actually going over. I was looking for something different, and you know what, Jason, you might remember this. I was looking for that passage where some translations of, I think it was probably a letter or something, they said Enoch, but that's because the letters in those in the Greek do say Enoch, but the thing is, you can separate it into 3 different words, right? So it's actually in because so it's like en ho, and then it says something else, right? I forget the last part of it. I forget what that part is, but I was looking for that because I distinctly remember it coming up in one of these letters. So I was looking through some commentaries and the stuff, but I remember coming across a passage where some manuscripts, instead of Jerusalem, they said Rome. Or so it wasn't. It wasn't Jerusalem. No, Babylon. It said Babylon. It said. I think the original was meant to be Babylon, but some commentators, some manuscripts actually changed it for Rome. So the thing is, there's even a textual tradition for that too, which I think is really cool. But yeah, everyone is going with the Rome interpretation, and it kind of makes sense with having, being forced into a state of adultery, right? By Rome rather than by Jerusalem.
Right. Now I do have something on these angels from Eerdmans. Each heavenly messenger is called another angel. The expression does not relate to the immediate context, since the last angel is the one who blew the 7th trumpet. It's possible, therefore, that in 14:6 through 11 and 14 through 20, John has adopted a tradition shaped originally by another context.
Oh, I guess just one other thing. One of the reasons that so they're talking about they're using standard Babylon imagery, but then in order to get to the Rome thing, here Babylon is naturally used as a pseudonym for Rome, not so much to disguise what is truly meant, but to reveal its true meaning. The capital city of the new Babylonian Empire, Babylon, was understood since the time of the exile as designation of Rome as Babylon. The designation of I skipped an entire fucking sentence, didn't I? There's not a sentence, a line. I was like, that sentence didn't make sense. So, let's see. Babylon was understood since the time of the exile as the epitome of the satanic world power. The designation of Rome as Babylon was frequent in post-biblical Judaism. So there are references to the Sibylline oracles and the second apocalypse of Baruch.
Oh, which we're currently
I think we are
reading.
in the apocalypse. Yeah. And that is that's way later in 67-7, as well as in early Christianity. So, that was one of the ones that I mentioned with the manuscript change.
Look, there's a long spiel about these angels. I think you should read it after I cover these angels. Okay.
Okay.
So there's this first angel, and there followed another angel saying Babylon is fallen. Okay, we read about that. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So these are these angels, right? And there's a long piece about the angels, and Eerdmans there.
Yeah, it looks like there's more angels coming up after this too. By the way, okay, so is it this piece right here? Or
yeah.
Oh, this piece.
On the 3 angels. It starts with the first one.
The first angel bears an eternal gospel and announces the hour of the day of judgment while calling upon all nations of the world to worship God, the Creator. This summons says nothing about Christ. The term gospel and its verbal equivalent to evangelize derive more immediately from a Hebrew background. Taken together with the theme of divine judgment, the emphasis on God as creator of heaven and earth and sea and water sources presupposes that revelation through nature is a sufficient basis for holding people responsible, for even this can lead to the recognition of God's glory. The second angel heralds the fall of Babylon the Great as if it is an accomplished fact. The vivid images anticipate the pronouncements against Rome in 17 and 18. The use of Babylon as a derogatory designation for the Roman Empire is known from contemporary Jewish literature, which I already cited. Let's see. Fornication is introduced as a metaphor to characterize Rome's influence on the nations as defilement, which we already kind of covered. The first two messages are followed by a warning of torment for worshippers of the beast. The third angel's words reveal the eschatological consequences for those who have come under the sway of Rome. They shall drink the wine of God's anger, but it's the his thumos, in undiluted form. Oh, cross-reference Jeremiah 25:15. The fire and sulfur correspond to the divine punishment of Sodom and Gomorrah, whereas the punishments envisioned in the series of seals and trumpets are temporary. God's final judgment is irreversible. The eternal smoke of the torment is a parody of the saints' prayers in 8:3-4, and by contrast provides no relief. Quote, they have no rest night and day refers to the beast's worshippers, is an ironic reversal of the same formula which describes the unceasing worship of God in 4:8. A direct appeal to the faithful interrupts the vision. In view of the expected crisis, John exhorts his hearers to patience. Let's see, some vivid imagery. The blessing on those who die in the Lord from now on reflects John's belief that death through persecution will occur on a wide scale in the near future. The death achieved will be rewarded by relief, the very antithesis of the punishment described in 14:11. Thus, Christian conflict with the world is not ultimately bad. For John, it presents an opportunity for a radical obedience, which in turn prepares for the manifestation of God's justice.
And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, as in writing.
Right, to write, yes. Yeah.
Blessed are the dead, which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold! A white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle.
Ooh, okay. Communism. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Now, obviously, this is this eschatological destroyer, perhaps inspired by Psalm 110, 5-6. So let me pop that up here. Now, Psalm 110.
That was verse 14, right?
It was verse 14. Okay. Also, obviously, a reference to Daniel 7:13.
Right, yeah, one like a son of man, sure.
The white cloud.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, also, son of man stuff is everywhere.
Yes, it says here in Psalm 110, 5-6. This is interesting. So Psalm 110 is super interesting because it's about the order of Melchizedek, which of course Jesus is supposedly the inheritor of here. Starting with verse 4, actually. The Lord hath sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Right.
The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. So this reference to a scythe may be a beheading thing. That is a reference to Psalm 110.
Check Joel 3:13.
Joel 3:13. Where the hell is Joel?
Yeah,
somewhere in here.
That's always a one to look for because it's like not very long and it's like, it's in the end of the prophet's book. You just flip through and like maybe eventually you'll find it.
Zechariah, Malachi. No, went too far. Got
Yeah,
to
it's
Malachi.
too far. Yeah, it's probably like I forget how long Joel was. Joel wasn't very long.
Joel's short.
Yeah,
Joel's
it has at
super
least 3
short.
chapters I can see.
It's like we are. I found Jonah.
Hey, that's almost there.
Amos, Joel.
Okay.
Which part of Joel is it?
3:13.
3:13. So Joel 3:13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Maybe.
Yeah.
Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Okay, yes. So there is this sickle that's been established in Joel, and now it plays a role here. I guess that's really the only thing that he could take from Joel.
Yeah, fair. Not really much you can do with Joel.
See, that's the thing that I was saying before. There's a lot of references to Daniel, but there's a lot in Daniel.
Sure, yeah.
You can't get a lot of references to Joel because there's not much to Joel.
Yeah, you have to try real hard.
Yeah. Okay. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, okay, I read that. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap.
Hell yeah, let's fucking go.
For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped.
Oh.
Judgment time.
Yeah. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, and he also having a sharp sickle.
Oh.
And another angel came out from the altar, which had the power over fire, and cried out with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Yeah, so this is a good thing.
This would be about 200 miles.
Yeah, so as a winepress yields the red juice of the grape, so the judgment of God issues in a bloodbath that flows as high as the bridles of the horses.
We've
and
had
extends the length and breadth of the land.
Yeah, and we've had references to the people of Israel being the fruit, and the vines of God.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So
before.
essentially, this is seen as okay. So as good as the people are that are ready to be harvested, right? That's not like, I'm not really getting like death, awful hell imagery from this. I'm mostly getting like in the metaphorical language that it is. I'm mostly getting like at when the time is right, when the people are ripe for being harvested. I'm guessing that's when the when they are ready for the Perusia, for the second
This
coming.
would not be the rapture, by the way. The
No,
rapture
this would just be the end
have,
times.
according to the rapture people, the rapture's already happened by this point.
Well, no. Matthew's saying Armageddon. The rapture would have been something else. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rapture would have occurred before.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual end times, the final days or whatever, during that period when, at least in this ideology here, Jesus returns. He in order to get his in order to fully encapsulate God's wrath, he has to first reap the people that he saves, I guess.
But in doing so, he establishes this wine press of the wine of the wrath of God.
So as good as the people are, there will be an equal amount of bad coming from that.
Well, here's
to kind of, I don't know if you want to say balance it out.
Here's what I'm kind of envisioning from this, right? The metaphor is that the good, decent people, as good as they are being harvested as grapes.
Yes.
Right? They are put into the wine press. They are stomped down, and the wine becomes the
wrath.
The wrath.
Yeah.
So if this is a figurative thing, what he's saying is that there will be good, decent people who suffer, and as a consequence of those good, decent people suffering, then the people who deserve to suffer because they're evil will have judgment cast upon them.
See, interesting, because I was getting more like, they were being used as part of the grand plan to, bring judgment on the people. So like,
they're used as part of the grand plan by being used sacrificially, right? They have to go through this period of suffering and being
I could see
stomped and turned into the wrath, right?
I could see that, yeah. Although it's interesting that they're not, because usually they put more of an emphasis on sacrificial language.
Right.
But
usually they do. But it's really strange because the truly righteous have already been preserved among the 144,000, right?
Well, those were like that is
the
true.
super righteous.
Right.
And this is just the rest of the people who are ready to be harvested.
Right, yeah.
Now, does that mean that they're taking everyone who's good, who's left on the earth, right? Is that what they're referring to? Or is it just a reference to Israel and the people of Israel? Because they're using...
Actually, you know what? With the grapes thing, it would make sense, right? Because we got the reference before to the first fruits and becoming the first fruits, which were given over for sacrifice. So, yeah, I suppose that would make sense.
And as the first fruits, they're sacrificed. They're turned into the wrath of God.
Right.
So... what happens to them, though?
Well, I assume they are somehow saved.
Well, we have this...
in some eternal way, perhaps.
We have this previous statement that... where is it? Oh, I can't find it right now, but I think it was that those who... believe in God at this point are saved, right? I'm not sure. I think it's in there. Anyways, that's the end of chapter 14.
Yes, it is. And you know what? I suppose I can hop into the next chapter then.
Yes.
And I actually have a version here to read. Not another commentary. Chapter 15.
Yes.
Yeah, should be. It's pretty short, I think. Yeah. So this is the 7 angels with 7 plagues. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and amazing. 7 angels with 7 plagues.
Now this is introducing the last of 3 sevenfold series of judgments.
Right, yeah.
Which will be the bowl of wrath. The bowls of wrath.
And I saw what appeared to be a sea of glass mingled with fire.
We've had this imagery before associated with the throne of Yahweh, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And various kinds of stones used to describe the flooring around the throne that's carried by the cherubim.
It was usually
lapis lazuli.
Yeah, some kind of blue, right?
Yeah,
Lapis lazuli,
which you could mistake for glass. I'm not certain that's what they're referring to, but it seems
it's mentioned twice though. So in 4:6, it was said to be clear as crystal. while in the present passage it is, quote, mixed with fire.
Right.
While several options are offered to the intent of this image, most likely it is nothing more than a descriptive detail intended to heighten the splendor. I mean, sure, perhaps.
Either way, it's a reference to the area before the throne, right?
Easily could be. But yeah, this is yeah. So appeared to be a sea of glass mingled with fire, and also those who had conquered the beast and its image and the number of its name, standing beside the sea of glass with harps of God in their hands. And they were harping their harps.
Those harps.
And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and amazing are your deeds, O Lord God the Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of the nations. Who will not fear, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. All nations will come and worship you, for your righteous acts have been revealed."
So a few things here. They reference the song of Moses, Exodus 15, Deuteronomy 32. This is Exodus 15, 1 through 18. It was sung on Sabbath evenings in the synagogues to celebrate Israel's deliverance from Egypt. The Song of the Lamb, the risen Lord triumphed over his enemies in securing spiritual deliverance for his followers, as in Psalm 22. The great and marvelous are your deeds bit is referenced in many areas, and the titles here are referenced in many areas as well. The universal recognition of God that occurs here is taught in the Old Testament in Psalm 86:9 and Isaiah 45:22-23 and Malachi 1:11, and in the New Testament in Philippians 2:9-11. So this is something that was established to occur. Now, at this point, of course, there would be no more atheists. There wouldn't be any Milwaukee atheists because there would be universal recognition of God.
Right, yeah, that is true. We would be Milwaukee Christians.
I think we would have died at that point, guys.
Now, the question is that because everyone else is dead? Is that why this has occurred? Or is it because people genuinely were like, wow, this God thing, definitely real?
Right, yeah, one of those. Probably the everyone else is dead thing.
I don't know.
Because they've been killing a lot of people.
They really
throughout
have been.
all these chapters.
I'd assume aliens before God and aliens pretending to be God and stuff like that.
So they have to have the right amount of persecution is the thing. Maybe that's what they're waiting for.
The Song of Moses and its dramatic setting occupies a large portion of one of the earliest rabbinic midrashim, that of Rabbi Ishmael. Now, all these nations coming together, it's even in Tobit,
Oh, yeah, Tobit.
Yeah. So, why don't we continue on?
Will do. All right. After this, I looked, and the sanctuary of the tent of witness in heaven was opened. And out of the sanctuary came the 7 angels with the 7 plagues, clothed in pure bright linen, with golden sashes around their chests. And one of the 4 living creatures, the ones in the middle there, like in the throne room, right? One of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of the wrath of God who lives forever and ever. And the sanctuary was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no one could enter the sanctuary until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were finished.
Yes, the 7 bowls of wrath elaborate themes already introduced through the 7 trumpets. Catastrophes are imagined through language echoing some of the 10 plagues against Egypt, and the people stubbornly refuse when confronted by signs of God's judgment, even though at this point everybody has recognized God, so I don't understand where they're... In comparison with the seals and trumpets, the destruction envisioned is more complete. Following the heavenly proclamation of divine justice in 15:3b through 4, John's hearers would have been prepared to understand the bowl plagues, both as a climactic expression of divine retribution against evil and as a final appeal to bring the nations to worship God before its end. The bowls of wrath are unleashed as the temple of the tent of witness, see Numbers, of course, is opened, and 7 angels emerge carrying 7 plagues. The bowls are further described as 7 golden bowls filled with the wrath of God who lives forever. These golden bowls are probably those held by the 24 elders in 5:8, where they are filled with the incense, which are the prayers of the saints. Thus, like the seals and trumpets, the bowls are portrayed as an answer to the martyrs' petitions for justice in 6:9 through 11. The theme of God's righteous anger has accompanied several of the visions of judgment thus far. The smoke filling the temple will represent the fullness of God's glory and power. The overwhelming presence of God sets in motion an irreversible process which cannot be interrupted until it is carried through to completion. Though wearing clothes that symbolize royal and priestly functions, the angels are not so much acting as priests. The description of these angels is
Those are the
modeled.
warriors.
Yes. The description's modeled on Ezekiel 9:2, in which 6 men, each holding a weapon for slaughter, are commissioned to dispense God's judgment upon the wicked of Jerusalem who are not given the mark of protection.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. The most prominent of these men is clothed in linen and has a sapphire belt around his waist in Ezekiel 9:3-11 in the Septuagint.
Right.
While Ezekiel 9 does not make clear whether this leader is one of the 6 or is a 7th figure, the tradition is adapted in Revelation to a 7-angel scheme. It is possible that the angelic figure of Ezekiel finds a correspondence for John in the guiding angel, one of the 7 pouring out the bowls of wrath, who accompanies John in chapters 17 through 19 and 21 through 22. The golden sash around their chests echoes the Ezekiel tradition, but on the level of the text, it recalls the clothing of Christ in 1:13.
Sure, yeah.
From this, it appears John simultaneously read Ezekiel 9 in relation to angelology and Christology, as is apparent in 1:1, 1:12 through 20, 4:1, and 22:6 through 7. In appearance and function, Christ is not fully distinguished from an angel.
Huh, interesting. So, there was one note here. So on the linen garments, right? There is a textual variant. So the word that's used for linen garment is linon. The reading lithon, stone, like lithos, right?
Yeah.
Has strong manuscript support and was widely circulated at an early date. But despite a superficial parallel with Ezekiel 28:13, it makes no sense and must be the result of an error in copying. It does not fit well with the adjective katharon, pure, which, on the contrary, does fit well with linon. The reading linun, made of linen, is a secondary improvement. Secondary improvement for a rare use of linon, and indirectly strengthens the manuscript support for linon as opposed to lithon. So that is quite interesting, though, that they had a variation with strong manuscript support that read stone.
Yes. Very interesting. Yeah. Are you
Oh, that was the end of the chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really have much to say. I guess the creatures, the 4 living creatures, right? They act as intermediaries throughout the whole book.
They're these beings that have been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Lawrence, do you hear something?
Oh, yes, I do hear something.
Whoa.
What is that I hear?
Behold, I am your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I want to let all you heathens and sinners know that I support this wonderful episode of Atheist Sunday School. Lawrence and Reuben try their very best to bring you the true glory of the Bible, and they need your help. They have provided links to their Patreon page and other social media just for you. Once again, my name is Jesus Christ, and this is Milwaukee Atheists. The Lord is with them. God bless.
Oh, shit. Hello, Jesus. Good to see you. You seem to be slowly approaching your final form.
Whatever that is.
Oh, it's gonna be pretty powerful. I think there's gonna be he's gonna have a white horse.
Whoa.
And like a sword and shit.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I think soon enough he's gonna get very dangerous.
And a sword and some shit.
Yeah, right. It's pretty dope. Oh my God. It's Reuben.
You know, J.R.R. Tolkien was a hardcore Catholic, and there's a lot of Catholic imagery that's in Lord of the Rings. Also,
Name one. Yeah, right. No.
Also, I want to point out that in chapter 16, there's some red text in the NIV, but not in the KJV. And
Really?
yes,
What verse?
verse 15. 15.
So 16, 15.
Yeah, 16, 15.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Is not marked as red text in the KJV, Family Bible, but it is marked as red text in the NIV Study Bible.
You know where we should check?
Where? Is that a red text Bible?
I don't know. Yes.
Yes, it is. All right, Revelation.
This there's a lot of
16,
dust
15.
on this. Okay.
Oh man, we haven't used the New King James in quite a while.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what
We
was it?
didn't even name it in the opening today.
No, we didn't. So let's see. What was it? 16.
16, 15. Wow, that is water damage.
Very water damaged. It is in red text.
Ooh.
So
Here's-
wait, hold on. So this is in red text.
This isn't.
The KJV isn't. But
The NIV is.
oh shit!
Okay.
What was that? You squeaked from your.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, how'd you do? Oh,
Unreplicable.
shit.
I can't. Nope. I can't do
Oh,
it.
man. Interesting. Somebody clip it.
That popped.
Yeah. Somebody clip it. Go back.
Do that. Try to clip it.
It's that for people who care, 50
Post it into
minutes
Discord.
57 minutes in.
Okay, let's proceed into chapter 16. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit about women. John of Patmos exhibits a concern with female sexuality that is unique among Jewish apocalypses. He accuses his rival Jezebel, a teacher perhaps influenced by Paul's epistle, 1 Corinthians 7-8, of engaging in porneia, impure sexual activity. And he compares her followers' attention to her adultery. His hatred of Rome/Babylon is subsumed in disgust for a giant whore, Greek porne, of king's pleasure, in 17:2.
Yeah, good question, Wim. Yeah, where are the Jezebels at?
You know what? I'm gonna read more of this next week because I think it's gonna be relevant.
Oh, for the whore of Babylon?
When we cover the whore of Babylon.
Okay, yeah,
But
sure.
I did want to bring up that was a section here. There's woman and the symbolism of pollution.
Wow. Yeah. It is unfortunate that has historically been so common.
Yes. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, "Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth."
Oh, that reminds me of when. So remember was it in Zechariah where he sends out the horsemen, right, to go. They're supposed to bring back a report, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he calls them all out and they go do their thing.
Since most temple rituals in antiquity involved the transfer and pouring of sacred substances, bowls were essential implements in ancient religion, including at the Jerusalem temple, and by extension, imagined in the heavenly temple cult, right? So they are now pouring out this wrath. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. This is like the boils, right? Or Exodus 9:8-12, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. So here, not just calling back to the blood of the sea in Exodus, but here it's the blood of a dead man, so it's coagulated, and so it's not...
I feel like blood of a dead man has popped up somewhere else in biblical lit before. Maybe not necessarily in the Bible, but at least in some apocryphal text. I could fucking swear I remember something about it. So yeah, for the first one, right? So the pouring out of the first bowl over the land corresponds to the sixth plague in Egypt. Those who have accepted the mark of the beast and have thereby bound themselves to the cult of Caesar are seized by malignant ulcers. The principle of punishment by means of resemblance appears to be assumed here. The second plague concerns the sea. In content, it corresponds with the first Egyptian plague, water becoming blood, whereby a sinister infestation occurs, as this blood is like that of corpses. So let's see, that's in verse 3? I could swear it popped up somewhere else.
Yeah, it says...
oh, you posted the clip? Thank you, Isaac.
Well, only a third of the sea is destroyed, but after the second trumpet blast, all living sea creatures are killed by the blood of the corpse poured by the second bowl. As in the Egyptian plague, the springs and water sources are bloodied, whereas they are poisoned in the third trumpet. The hymnic pieces which follow reveal the reason for the emphasis on punishment by blood. Okay.
Okay.
And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with a great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory. So they get burned.
As is tradition.
Sick burn. Yeah, obviously God has power over the sun.
What?
This has happened before.
Oh my God.
Not burning people like this. Though
You
it
know,
did burn people.
In case chat's curious, I feel like it had something to do with Levitical laws or laws in Numbers or something. Like or something that's related to it. Maybe we were like reading over some old Hittite law. I don't quite remember, but in kind of recently, I remember this coming up where like the blood of the dead will contaminate someone else. Maybe was it like something Nazarite? Maybe?
We know that to touch a corpse,
sure, yeah,
or the products of a corpse is to be defiled.
Yes, but specifically blood of the dead, which was the thing I had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's popped up somewhere. I could just be misremembering the whole thing.
I don't know. And men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of God, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. Obviously, this is referencing back to
The beast of the sea.
Beast of the sea, and also the gnawing and gnashing of teeth.
Also, yes.
And blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings was of the east might be prepared. The kings of the east.
Yeah, so in the east, that would have been the Parthian land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So specifically, the author may have had in mind the Parthians and Medes, whom the people of the eastern Mediterranean world knew from ancient times as continuously dangerous enemies. Cross-reference Enoch 56, 5-8.
Shout out to Enoch.
Yeah.
Enoch 56, 5-8.
Let's see here. 56. Wow. It's its own section. Oh, boy. And in those days the angels shall return and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and Medes. They shall stir up the kings so that the spirit of unrest shall come upon them, and they shall rouse them from their thrones. It's the whole thing about them being evil. Yeah. Yeah, in those days Sheol shall open its jaws, and they shall be swallowed up therein. Yeah. So, here you go. And feel free to take that at any moment. That's cool.
I'm just enjoying my coffee, Lawrence.
No
enjoyment of coffee here.
Oh, wow. So, the mead. The sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof dried up, that the way of the three kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
Yeah, so let's talk about this a little bit, shall we? So that was verse 13?
It was verse 13, yes.
Let's see. However, an aberration in the event arises. One would expect that the kings of the east would descend in destruction on the empire of the beast, instead of being an object of the plague. The evil powers are inserted. Well, if we're talking about the Parthians and the Medes, yeah, of course they're going to be a target as well. As a further motif from the Egyptian plagues, frogs now appear. Perhaps the prototype originally dealt with an army of demonic frogs coming from the east, analogous to the demonic army of locusts. In any case, John has used this motif no differently than that of darkness, also originating from the Egyptian plagues. He compares the seductive speeches from the mouth of the satanic trinity, dragon, beast, and false prophet, cross-reference chapter 13, with frogs, presumably because of their similarity with dragons and snakes.
Leviticus
tenuous.
11:10 classifies frogs as an unclean animal. The imagery suggests
That makes
that
sense,
the
at
deceptive propaganda that will in the last days lead people to accept and support the cause of evil.
That makes sense. Now that they are unclean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me continue on then.
The drying up of the Euphrates may have suggested the frogs of verse 13, which in turn would remind the reader of the second Egyptian plague. In any case, the preparation for war is the common theme.
It may be inspired by Exodus 8, 1 through 15, but John reconceptualizes frogs as the form taken by demonic spirits of false prophecy.
It's also interesting to see how John interpreted that plague, considering that he's using it here.
Mm-hmm. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
Yeah, unclean spirits. Makes sense. Okay.
Behold!
Oh!
I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he that walk naked, and they see his shame. So that verse, that is the verse that's in red text in these other versions, but not the King James Version.
Sorry.
Out of nowhere, it's in red text. And so there's no footnote about it being in red text here.
There's nothing even about it that really suggests. So it's an inch. Okay, so hold on. Let's take a look at it. So verse 15.
Now, the Jewish annotated New Testament says that this is a prophetic oracle in the voice of the risen Christ, displaying true prophecy, abruptly interrupting the narrative. The oracle may be a later addition, like those in chapter 22. So this might be a later addition, but there are a couple of references to the Gospels, which may shed some light on these choices.
Yeah, we are reminded of the unexpectedness that the historical Jesus connected with his own return. Right, because he comes like a thief, right? It's going to be very, like, you're not going to know when it's coming, right?
Yes.
So I do remember that part popping up. So it is interesting. So nothing about the text. At least let's check the Greek, shall we? Verse 15. So I guess what about it even suggests? I mean, it sounds like someone's speaking, right? But let's see, verse 15. So this is 16.
Here, yes. In Matthew 24, 42 through 43. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come, but know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, nothing about this, nothing about the Greek suggests it, or is even as a quote. Mm-hmm. Like no one's like this isn't presented as a quote. Mm-hmm. So it just sounds like someone is talking, but it being like a separate quote that is not, like as a later addition, I guess it could make sense, right? But it looks here like, let's see. Yeah, this would make more sense to me. Having mentioned the great day of God, John interrupts the prophecy in order to make an occasion in prophetic language. That makes more sense. The way it's presented in Greek makes way more sense that way. If it was just the actual author speaking to us instead of a character within the narrative. Yeah. That makes way more sense. And the Greek lends itself to that. But it does clearly show those parallels with the synoptics.
Right. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
Right, yeah.
Now, this probably stands for Har Megiddon, the mountain of Megiddo. Oh. Many see no specific geographical reference in the designation and take it to be a symbol of the final overthrow of evil by God.
Or Mount of Assembly, Jason says. Let's see.
Yeah.
The
Armageddon, probably biblical Megiddo, an ancient city mentioned in the Hebrew Bible in Judges 127 and 5.
Interesting that they would choose the Mount of Megiddo.
But never as an eschatological battlefield.
Right. But in the Jezreel Valley, that is interesting. That's an interesting note. So Hebrew name is given Armageddon or Mount of Megiddo, located in the Jezreel Plain, the natural passage from the coastal plain to the Jordan Valley. Megiddo had been in Israel's early history the scene of the defeat of the Canaanite kings. The underlying apocalyptic tradition apparently also shifted to that place the decisive battle of the end time, which was to seal the fate of Jerusalem. It is especially difficult to explain the localization of this battle on the Mount of Megiddo. Might it be that Carmel, lying 9 miles from Megiddo, is meant? It is conceivable that the tradition has been influential here, according to which the evil powers are destroyed in their attempt to storm the mountain of God. Right. Another parallel then would be to Isaiah 14, right? Where we actually get like the whole, like, he's trying to like ascend and become like God, but then he got knocked down. He couldn't get back up again.
They kept him down.
Yep. Never gonna. No, they kept him down. They definitely kept him down.
He's never gonna get back
up. They continuously kept him down. The depiction breaks off abruptly before the beginning of the battle. So that was verse 16. Yeah, let's see what Mounts has to say on this. Also has the designation Mount of Megiddo, but here a difficulty arises. There is no Mount Megiddo. It is possible. Well, because they would have been talking about the plain of Megiddo. It wouldn't have been a mount. It would have been the plain. So it is possible that Armageddon could be a reference to the hill country near Megiddo, which is what everyone seems to take it as. Let's see. One frequent suggestion is that the apocalypse began with Ezekiel's prophecy of a great eschatological slaughter of the nations on the mountains of Israel. So Ezekiel 38 and 39. And then made the reference more specific by adding the name Megiddo as the place where so often in Israel's history the enemies of God were destroyed.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's continue. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were voices, and thunders, and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
Yeah, or I like all the different translations for this because in Greek it's one word. What because this would be God, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one on the throne. So
and the great city Rome here is being called Babylon. It's anticipating its appearance in the form of the whore of Babylon in chapter 17. Jews identified Rome as a new Babylon because of its threat to an ultimate demolition of the Jerusalem temple. This symbolic use of past historical names of cities and people preoccupied biblical interpretation and historiography at Qumran, e.g. in the Pesher Habakkuk, the Cairo-Damascus document, the Qumran War Scroll.
Pretty big names and pretty big documents to come out of Qumran there.
Yeah.
So I did want to point out, so in, what was it, verse 17, where he says, your translation had, it is done.
Mm-hmm.
So some translations say, like, all is over. But, so the word is gegonen, which is just like, it has happened. Like, it has happened. So, but it's all from the one word.
Mm-hmm. It's, this is the end.
Yep. Like, it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. You know, I'm going to bring up something that I brought up last time. How the hell is anyone still alive at this point in the story?
Well, remember, they're only killing in thirds.
They killed all the oceans. They turned all of the water into blood at this point. Nothing is going to survive. You cannot grow plants.
1/3 is fire. Another third is this bramble crap. It's inedible and deadly, and it's bitter, I guess.
I got plot armor. That's a good that's a good idea there. That might be it.
It's just plot. Look, they're just arbitrarily using more and more images of destruction. The point is to show that it's like an extremely thorough destruction that on a level that hasn't been considered in literature.
Right, and using 7 so many times, it's like completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even a straggler.
Like it's 7, 7, 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're hitting the destruction jackpot.
So
see, that's a cool name for a band.
Mm-hmm.
The Destruction Jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to them.
I bet you would on the name alone, even if it was just noise.
Well, yeah.
What do you think of grindcore?
Oh God.
I've heard better.
Yeah.
We can write grindcore songs. Here's a grindcore song.
I don't want to.
That's the whole song.
That was really good. You
That's
should publish
what grindcore is like.
Yes, I like that.
That's part of the song.
Well done.
That's sound effect. Yeah, so that's the end of the chapter. I mean, I don't know. What do you want to do? Check us out on Patreon.
Hold on, there was something else here. Right, okay, so yeah, you finished the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So interesting. All right, so I just wanted to bring this up here. The plague of hail produces no change in those who dwell on the earth. After each of these 3 final plagues, people blaspheme God. Even the exceedingly great hail fails to shatter their confidence in the kingship of Apollyon, the angel of the abyss, and bring them to bring them to acknowledge the sovereignty of God in heaven. I don't even know what that word means. Faustian, their Faustian bargain. Is that what is that a reference to?
Faust. You make a deal with the devil.
That's what that is a reference to?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that had a word for it.
You should look into that, Lawrence.
I didn't know there was a word for that.
Yeah.
I've heard of plenty of deals with the devil, but never.
Faustian bargain.
Yeah, I've never heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should really look into that.
It
frankly surprises me that you know about the Iliad, but you don't know about Faust.
No, I guess not.
It's like you know about Supernatural, but you don't know about Faust.
Right, yeah.
It's like you know about the Oxford Companion to the Bible, but you don't know about Faust.
Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha. I should look into
that
it.
Companion.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, that's I mean, what else can we say about these bowls? They have been poured out. We have detailed their pouring. That it is done.
Yep, it is done.
Yeah.
And now and the next week we're gonna talk about the Whore of Babylon.
Yeah, we're coming very near the end here. I want to point out to our viewers that next week we're doing what, 17 through 19 or 17 through 18?
See that no, 17 through 18.
17 through 18.
17 and 18, yeah.
Okay.
Because I figured, we're going to have some things to say about the
yeah.
Whore of Babylon.
Then 19 through 20 and then 21 through 22. And so we've only got a few weeks left here, guys, before we finish the Bible. Then
Then we have like a big stream at the end,
Yeah.
like the week afterwards, which is just like, hey, let's all have a good time and shoot the shit about the Bible, I guess.
You know what
Just
I
chill
want
out.
to do at some point during our post stream is go over all of the methodological errors that we've had over the course of this entire project.
Sure, yeah.
As a lot of people will look at this. Now, we can say
We could have the stream up in the background playing through like a computer as a little mini guy.
Oh, yeah, that'd be funny, yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Well,
It's like because I have them all recorded.
Right.
You could just plug it in and say play all.
Right, yeah, true.
but we can say like, oh, we read the Bible. Here's proof that we read the Bible. But it doesn't mean that our hermeneutics and our methods of interpretation have always been the best, especially earlier on.
No, they've improved, of course.
Even so, we have a lack of continuity between the qualities of our secondary sources over the course of the show.
Also, yes.
But I do feel like we filled in the gaps a lot as we went.
We did.
We have done our best to fill in the gaps. Now, you could get a much more in-depth reading of the Bible if you used a digital system to cross-reference every single commentary. And there's some people who do that.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure that you'll be doing that.
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
I honestly prefer the actual books because the digital systems, it's just what tab am I on now? What is this? I don't know. I forget.
But there is a serious discussion to be had about interpretation and how that impacts our successive readings of additional material.
Also true, yeah.
Because we see certain references, like Rome being Babylon, especially given the historical context. Right. We see certain references, and other people will wholeheartedly reject that and say, well, no, there's this obvious other interpretation that you're just overseeing, right? I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to give an overview of what the scholarship generally says. Yeah. Right. But
we'll talk about it more on that stream.
There's more that we can go over on that stream.
Yeah. But either way, exciting to get to all that stuff. And hey, make sure you guys join the Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Join.
! Discord in the chat to give you the link, or the link is in the description. Either way, join the Discord. Do all the other good YouTube things.
Open the door. Get on the floor. Everybody walk
stop,
the
drop,
dinosaur.
and roll. Anyways, thanks for watching. We will be here on Friday.
It is done.
Friday, it's done. It'll be done.